What's up, guys? Welcome back to Aledius Sports Talk. This one, we're going to be talking wrestling, so hence the WrestleTalk label on this. And man, Money in the Bank, that was a pretty solid pay-per-view, I thought. I think starting off with the men's Money in the Bank, I think, this one was interesting for me where I felt like it could have gone different ways, and I would have been happy with any, really. I mean, I personally thought that Chad Gable was going to win this one. I feel like just the way that the storyline can go with him and how I think good of a wrestler he is, having him be the guy to win this one would have been really cool. But I think, and this is a lot of debate that people are having right now, where Drew wins it, and does that and then later on in the night he fails that cash in. Now, I kind of feel like it was pretty good. It was good storytelling, and I was cool with Drew winning it and then losing it later that night, just because I think storytelling wise, there's just that parallel, right, between Drew and Damian and CM Punk, and it's almost like they're really just nailing down how much Punk is screwing over Drew, to the point where you're almost gonna, like, some people I think are going to be on Drew's side in this, because in reality, right, like, Drew kind of has a point with Punk at this point in time, right? Like, at this point, Punk is screwing over Drew over and over again, and Drew gets suspended because of his post-show antics, if you will. Just destroys the set there near Jackie Redmond and Big E and Wade Barrett. But I thought that this first match with all these guys was really good. I think just the spots they were to pull off, and it's hard. These kind of matches are difficult, especially when you got Andrade, Carmelo, a couple of guys who may not be yet seasoned in this world or in this kind of type of match yet and all that stuff. So it was I thought it was a really solid match overall. Now, speaking of that cool match, next one is Sami Zayn, Braun Breaker. This match, I did not know what to expect in terms of who would come out on top, who would go over here, just because I feel like personally that Braun Breaker losing clean, I'm not the biggest fan of that. Just because, if you're trying to build him up to be Brock Lesnar-esque, I feel like he should just run through every opponent that he has for a good amount of time. And if he is gonna lose, it has to be something that, he didn't get beat clean. But again, what do I know? I mean, that's just my opinion. I just feel like his allure and his what makes him special and what makes him scary is the fact that he's like an ass kicker, right? Like, he is just tough, again, like Brock Lesnar, almost Goldberg, but he's so athletic. He's not like Goldberg in the sense where he's going to come in there and spear, jackhammer, it's over. It's more of, this guy can really wrestle, this guy can go, and he is huge, and he's like a football player. He can just run people over, and I don't want him to lose his intimidation factor, right? That's the thing that kind of concerns me of him losing, even if it is against Sammy, who is very talented, and I think it's credible that he can lose to Sammy because Sammy beat Gunther at WrestleMania. And Sammy, I think, Corey Graves was saying it on commentary, where Sami Zayn is building up this reputation of odds are against him. He's the underdog, but he comes out on top anyway. So it does make sense that he did win against Braun Breaker, but I would love to see Braun go on a bit of a run here where he just beats everyone that he is up against, and it's hard. It's like a delicate thing. Like what do you do, right? It's like, what do you do when you have someone like Braun, but then you have someone like Sammy who can't drop the title that quickly. Otherwise that really hurts Sammy. But at the same time, Braun, if he is going to lose, it has to be done right in order for him to just not lose his steam and to not make him look, weak and whatever. I think in the past, we've seen wrestlers who they miss that opportunity to maintain that level of looking strong or whatever, because they lose too early sometimes, right? Or they get beat by someone who they shouldn't, and it just they lose their steam, and all of a sudden now they're no longer intimidating. They're just like anybody else. So Yeah, this one I thought the match was really good. I don't know, but personally, I just feel like Sammy. Sometimes I do feel like Sammy sells a little weird for my take, for my taste. But overall, right, like Sammy always puts on really good matches, and I enjoyed this one. I think I was expecting Braun to win because I don't know, it would have been a big surprise. But now I think about it though, maybe him winning the title in Canada would not at all make sense, and for sure, it's probably the right call. So, I don't know. Like that was the thing. I would thought maybe they could do the whole shock value side of it, where they would have Sammy lose, but I don't think it would go over well in Canada, and especially I think over the years, Sammy has really like he's done the job for people in like situations where people thought he should have won. So I think at this point in time, it's good to see him get the get the wins and him being going over. So overall, that was a good match. It was a pretty solid match, and I don't think Braun looked weak here. I think I know I just said that he could have looked weak, but I think they did a good job of making it so that he just lost. He's a young kid and he just lost. That's all it is, and it happens in pro wrestling or in sports. It happens, right? So. But man, there was moments where Breaker was bouncing off the ropes and he clotheslined Sammy, and he just was looked unbelievable there. So that was pretty cool to see. But yeah, pretty solid match there. I also feel like with both the men and women's Money in the Bank matches, and the women's one I'll get into in a second, but there were so many spots that I was just holding my breath on because it was crazy. I mean, there's the one where Gable is like he has McIntyre's arm on maybe not really an arm bar, but he was just almost like a figure four arm bar on the ladder. His arm, Drew's arm on the ladder, and Chad Gable was just like hanging off it, and then Andrade does a big leg drop. It was just on Gable's head. It was wild. It was insane. I think Carmelo did a really good job in this match. I think he's kind of grown on me a little bit, right? And I think initially him just coming out of NXT and challenging, I think it was Cody, right, in his first night. I was kind of like, I don't know, this guy seems a little like getting ahead of himself here. But now I think just seeing him put on this kind of match or being part of this kind of match, and he's just starting to look like he really belongs in the main roster. And I don't watch NXT as much as I probably should. So a lot of people out there who watch NXT probably definitely going to look at me and, tell me that this guy has been, crushing it since his NXT days. And I would not disagree. And I mean, there was that spot where him and Andrade like both did a backflip off the middle rope into the lat. Oh, it was wild. There were so many moments in this match from start to finish this pay-per-view. There were a lot of spots that I holding your breath a little bit because this was wild, some wild spots here in this show. I feel like also in this match or just in this kind of storyline, I kind of want to see LA Knight be doing something more productive to his kind of career here. Like I just feel like he belongs in a better spot than where he's at. I honestly feel like LA Knight should have maybe been somehow involved in that Cody Rhodes KO Randy Orton storyline. I just feel like unless there's a real story that he's going to latch onto by being involved with like a Logan Paul and these guys in this Money in the Bank match, I don't know why he's getting lumped in with these guys. I just think he's a little bit above them, and I just feel like he was so hot for the past year, and he still is like, he still has a good amount of people behind him, and he's still really popular. He's not losing steam, I don't feel like. And so I think he deserves a better spot. Honestly, that's just coming where my head's at. I think he deserves a better spot. I think he I don't know, it's hard because where are you going to place him also in terms of just he can't go against Cody, right? Two baby faces, and I don't know if he'd be good right now for him to be a heel. So I guess this is probably the best spot for him. But personally, I just think that he deserves to be somewhat in that top echelon picture, not just, wrestling Logan and being just inserted in these like Money in the Bank or, different type of gimmick matches and things like that. But hopefully he can somehow get involved. And maybe even with the Damian Priest and Cody, or not Cody, Damian Priest and Seth storyline, because I'm sure at this point, right? So Seth can no longer challenge Drew for the title after what happened, and I don't know, I mean, I guess Damian Priest is gonna go up against Gunther, and we'll see how that kind of goes. I'll be at SummerSlam, so that's gonna be fun. But yeah, I feel like LA Knight, I just want to see him in a better position than where he's at now. And Jay, I think he's doing a really good job where he's at right now. I think Jay is going to be better over time, but it's just what he does in these type of situations where he's kind of like a veteran in these kind of matches, right? So I've been really impressed with Jay, and just being a big part of these kind of matches is pretty cool to see how far he's come. But Drew wins this one. He wins this Money in the Bank, and again, like I said a while ago, as we find out, he cashes in unsuccessfully against Damian. But overall, this match I thought delivered. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed just all of them. Like every single one of these guys had their moment in this match. And like it's sometimes tough in these kind of Money in the Bank 6-man matches where it can sometimes get convoluted, but this one I thought flowed really well. Honestly, all of them, both of them, like all the men and the women who were involved in these Money in the Bank matches were just, they were off the chain. It was awesome. It was so cool. Definitely something we have to chat about is John Cena. When he came out, I thought like, oh, he's probably gonna do a fun little segment, maybe just say hi to the crowd, maybe a little run in. And then when he put that towel the towel down and it said the last time is now, I was like, wait, what's happening? And then he goes in the ring, tells everybody that he's retiring, or at least this year is his last year of competing. It's funny because like I remember when I'm an Attitude Era guy, so I've been watching since like 94, 95 ish, right? So I grew up with the Attitude Era, and then there was that period of time where, yeah, like The Rock, Stone Cold, they were leaving, Brock Lesnar was still new, Taker was there. But he wasn't, I think at the time he was just kind of not, actually, no, he was there normally, but not necessarily on the same level as stardom, mainstream media wise, as like Stone Cold and The Rock. But, Taker was there, Shawn, Triple H, Shawn was kind of coming back in during that time at 2003. But that Ruthless Aggression era, right? That was the era for John Cena, Lesnar, Batista, Kurt Angle, Randy Orton. I know Kurt Angle kind of came in more so earlier, but just in terms of like being part of the storylines there. But it was those young guys that Orton, Cena, Batista, Lesnar, those OVW guys. And then, as time went on, Cena became a really huge part of that period of time where there was no Austin, no Rock. It was just John Cena and whoever they would put up against them. And you would have, Orton start to come into his own. And you got to give John Cena a lot of credit. He really carried the company through that stretch of time, that long stretch of time. And honestly, my favorite rendition and iteration of John was the Thugonomics one, when he was doing the Word Life and all that stuff, and he was rapping his way into the ring. I thought that was really fun. I remember watching that. I remember watching live when he battle rapped Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was against John Cena in a battle rap. And I remember John Cena's raps against Big Show, Undertaker back in 2003 when they fought against each other. I think in, maybe was it Vengeance or something like that. Maybe No Way Out. One of those matches or one of those pay-per-views at the time. But I remember when he first came out and he had it's like that bucket hat, and then it was like a blue bucket hat, and he had like blue baseball shirt, I think, baseball jersey. I mean, he was jacked. He was always jacked, but like when he started rapping, and initially you kind of scoffed at it, you kind of just laughed at it a little bit, and you thought, oh, this is kind of stupid. He's trying to like be like Vanilla Ice. But then after a while, like, oh, okay, this is like, he's actually throwing some pretty good insults, and he's entertaining, right? So he's very entertaining. And I still remember I bought his album. He had a rap album or hip hop album, and it was fun. I remember listening to that Listen to that album. It was good. I mean, it was pretty good for wrestler and things like that. But yeah, no, it's pretty crazy that he is retiring now, and I'm old enough at this point to see his whole career kind of unfold a little bit here, and it should be. I'm very interested to see what or who he's going to go up against and what they're going to do. I'm definitely going to try to make it to the Rumble, and I'm definitely want to make it to Mania. It's going to be the year of Cena, probably. I wonder if he would even go for the title. We'll see how they decide on that. I think if anything, it would just make sense for him to go up against the heavyweight title, not Cody, because I think there's maybe history there with, I don't know if Seth would be in that title picture, but I think Damian is gonna get, they're gonna take the title off Damian, and who knows who, maybe that'd be cool if it goes to CM Punk, right? That would be cool if it goes to CM Punk, and then he goes up against John Cena, against Punk, rematch. Drew screws Punk over. Cena gets to surpass Ric Flair as being a champion for, what is it, like 17 times at this point or whatever. So that would be pretty sweet as a retirement send-off tour here. But overall, man, like, it's been so cool to see John Cena evolve and grow. And I gotta admit, I mean, I'm a huge Rock fan, so I'm loyal to The Rock, and especially during that 2012, 2011 to 2013 period of time where John Cena and The Rock were kind of button heads there. I definitely thought John Cena was a prick. and during that time, I was definitely on Team Rock, and I still am. But I just think, looking back, it was a pretty cool time where you had the top guy and John Cena at the time, and then The Rock coming back then. But, just Cena's been part of a lot of incredible stuff, and especially stuff with Punk, his stuff with like Big Show back in the day, JBL. Of course, you got to talk about Randy Orton. Like, there's so many matches they had against each other, and I think it was at a point where people got sick of it. But those two guys were carrying the company for a long period of time, right? So, you definitely a lot of respect for him, and I know people are going to talk about maybe how during that '08, maybe '08 to 2010 run, 2011 run. He was burying a lot of people, as they would like to claim. But I just think too, you got to look at, like, he moved the needle. John Cena moved the needle. He was the top Make-A-Wish guy. He was the top guy for the company. Sold the most merch. It's hard to not put him front and center, right? So that's the whole thing about that. But overall, you can't help but look at his career and just really be appreciative as a fan, grateful as a fan, and not just tip your hat off to him, because what he was able to do for a long period of time, a long stretch of time, is definitely impressive. To be on top for that long was pretty cool, and kind of cool that for me, I got to kind of see it all happen. And it's going to be a pretty sad. I mean, he's not leaving the company forever. It's just he's going to be no longer competing, but it's going to be sad to see his final Royal Rumble and his final Mania and that whole thing. So. Hopefully I'll be able to make it to the Rumble. I know I'll be trying to make it to Mania. And yeah, I mean, thank you, Cena, because he was a big part of this business for the past 20 years for sure. So it's gonna be tough to see him go. All right, now we gotta talk about the Seth Rollins against Damian Priest heavyweight championship match. Man, I think even Triple H said it in the post show press conference. This whole match, which I thought was a really good match. I thought both Seth and Damian put on one hell of a match. It is all going to be overshadowed, unfortunately, by that ending, which, I mean, I'm watching it back. I haven't watched it back. He didn't kick out, and part of me thinks, like, it could have been better if they just said it was a miscue with Drew's music, as opposed to putting the blame on Damian. But I think it's pretty obvious that you can tell by Damian's reaction. You can tell by the ref communicating with Damian right after it happened. And I think even he kind of put his hand on his head when he was on the mat there. I think that was on him. I think he should have kicked out at 2, and it should have been that moment where Seth is there and he's like wondering what he has to do, and then Drew comes out. I think that is probably the spot that was supposed to happen by the looks of it. Because I also think too that if Drew was supposed to interrupt the count, and Seth, being the vet that he is, that he didn't hear the music, he probably would have done something. He probably would have just like popped up and been like, oh, you guess, Damien kicked out, or maybe Seth was going to do something else. You know, he might have thought about doing something else to really put him away. But the fact that Seth, he looked like he was just waiting for Damien to kick out, and he was committed to getting the pin. And he didn't. You just feel bad, because I think, and I don't know if people want to consider when was it Clash the Castle, when Damien basically goes ass over tea kettle and then he hooks his leg on the rope. I don't know if that's a botch. That just looked like, a dangerous spot, I think. I don't think that was his fault, really. I mean, he just tried to big boot him and big boot Drew in Clash Castle, and then he just didn't do it, or he got caught up on the rope. But with this one, I just think, I mean, was he knocked out? Was something like, you know what I mean? Like, was that, like, did he not hear the one count or whatever? Because it did not seem like, it just didn't seem like he even knew that the count was there, And I'm just watching right now, like, big slam, and yeah, like, because he like, flicked his hand. I don't know if it was that he was trying to give a sign that he was okay, that he was knocked out. I'm just very surprised. Like, confused. I'm just confused. I mean, everyone just knows it was a botch, I guess, or unfortunately, it happens, and mistakes happen, and it is what it is. Just move on. Maybe he just forgot. I'm watching again. Maybe he just forgot that was the spot where he was supposed to kick out. I don't know, because it just looks like, and it's not like he landed on his head. And the crowd's loud. The crowd's like chanting 1, 2. So if you're Damien, it's like, if you can't even, if he wasn't knocked out, he should have been able to hear the music or hear the crowd say 1, 2, and then boom, kick out. Yeah, just a tough thing all around, honestly. To feel bad for him, because at the end of that match too, he looked like he was not happy at all. Like, in the way that, like, it was him that fucked up. So you kind of just feel bad for Damien here, because again, he also ends up winning the match. So now all of a sudden, now it makes it look even more so a little sketchy that, like, he wins the match when clearly he lost. And even though, again, it's all entertainment, it is all it's a show, but I think you just lose that credibility when clearly people see that, by the letter of the law here, the ref should have counted to 3. Like, the ref should have counted there. But and Drew comes out, and CM Punk somehow, I don't know, comes through the crowd. I think it was kind of predictable that something was going to happen with Drew being out there, that probably CM Punk would show up. I think for me, it's teetering now on this level of, okay, like, there's enough interruptions, enough interferences. If he's gonna go against them, then they should go. If they're gonna fight, they should fight. Like, at some point, they just have to be in a match already, right? Maybe, like, SummerSlam is the start of the build to WrestleMania. I know it's a long build. I'm just saying. I mean, it's been a long build already. I'm just saying, in terms of Punk actually getting in the ring and them having some kind of match. Because I just, if we were to go another pay-per-view or live event or another whole storyline where it's not necessarily Drew versus Punk, but Drew's trying to do something and then Punk interferes, it's like, all right, we get it. He's just going to be there. So I think they're ready for that next step where Punk actually gets a lot more physical, and it just becomes about them. But I mean, I don't know. There's the added element also of Seth, right? Seth can no longer challenge for the heavyweight championship while Damian Priest is champion, because he lost this match. And maybe that adds a new wrinkle to the storyline. And maybe for a little bit, Seth could be the one who is, getting in CM Punk's face while Drew is suspended indefinitely. So we'll see how that goes. But so far, I've liked this storyline. It's been really entertaining. And I just think it's leading up, for me personally, where Drew's going to go over on Punk, and I think he's going to beat him. But it's going to be one hell of a match. I think it's going to be one hell of a match for sure. All right, now for the women's Money in the Bank match. And I got to tell you, this one was probably my favorite match of the night. There were moments in this match, a lot of moments, that I was legitimately, like, worried and scared for these women and the spots they were doing, and I thought someone was going to get hurt really badly. I mean, Zoe Stark, like the just her that part when she's in the corner with who was it? I forgot who. It slipped my mind right now who, but like she did a flip off the rope. She hit her head on the ladder. I mean, the suplex with Io Sky off the top. Um, Chelsea taking a massive bump. Props to her. I thought she was actually going to win, but props to her for taking that huge bump to the table. Everyone, like Naomi, her stuff that she did on a ladder, everyone, like there were just a lot of moments that really kind of made me like hold my breath for a second because this match just looked brutal. And there was even one where I think Zoe's arm like just like smacked hard on the ladder. Damn, like just the suplexes on the ladder, everything from like being just power slammed on the ladder. Like I was very, very impressed with what the women were able to do in this match, and I definitely think that they deserve this match of the night from this one. All of them did a great job. And oh yeah, it was Lyra who Zoe did the movement, and she even tried to do this move where she has this like I don't know 360 180 type spin, and she kind of missed Lyra, but she hit her head on that ladder. You can hear it, and I like the whole time I'm just so nervous for every single one of these ladies that like it looked like they were seriously going to injure themselves. It was just, and then even like just when they were falling down on the ladder, like with Naomi and Zoe, like I thought Zoe's arm would get caught in between. It was brutal. But they really all laid it on the line this match, and Tiffany winning, I like it. I think she really is going to be the next. Well, she is already a star, but I just think that she has that character. She's got that skill, athleticism. But to me, like I've said before, I really care about the character more than the wrestling moves. And I just think that she has both, but I think she has a really good character. And I think there's something about her that resonates with people. And, of course she's, really pretty and everything, but I just think that she has like such a strong all around character, and she has that look of a champion, and, the Tiffy time, and just the way that her attitude, that kind of snobbish, I'm better than you, and this like Barbie doll brat type attitude. It works well for her. And it's some cool to see her definitely get more opportunities and have the ability to kind of be at the forefront of a lot of things now. And man, she's a really good job, just that Swanton dive bomb on the outside, and really laid it out on the line there. And yeah, I think with her being the champion, whenever that happens, and whoever she challenges, which I'm guessing it's gonna be Bailey, just because Liv right now is in a bit of a deep storyline. Yeah, I think whenever she becomes champion, it's gonna be really good. It's gonna be a good run for her, and excited to see it all happen. But I think with Tiffany, I think that is a cash in that's going to happen. Maybe Mania, maybe Royal Rumble, but just down the line. I do not see it happening anytime soon. Honestly, I think there's just a lot more ground for her to cover, and a lot more for her to do before she even comes close to winning the title. But I could be wrong. But I just kind of get that sense that they're going to be patient with her, and definitely use that Money in the Bank briefcase to her advantage, and have it be maybe even a part of just her character, right? Kind of with Damian Priest, what he did there. But I think she's gonna wait a little bit before she cashes that one in. And lastly, we have Cody Rhodes, KO, and Randy Orton against Solo, Jacob Fatu, and Tama Tonga. This one was pretty solid match. Not necessarily my favorite in terms of just the wrestling and everything, but I like the storyline. And honestly, what stuck out to me the most with this one is they have to really start they are hopefully going to start doing it, but they have to start making Solo look a lot more stronger. Because I feel like, the vignettes work, the promos are good, kicking Paul Heyman's ass and putting him through the table was good. But for me, it's like he has to win matches, right? Like he has to be getting pinfalls. And for him to get a pin over Cody is huge. I think, that's something he could say that him and Roman have pinned Cody, right? I think, and if anything, he can go take it a step further and say like, hey, Roman, the only reason he did get a pin over Cody was because of me, right? He could say something like that. He could be like, you only beat Roman because I was there in 39. But when, it was up to him, when it was up to Roman himself, he couldn't get the job done or whatever. I really like, I will say, I really do like though how far Solo has come in a very short time. I think he used to be just mute, silent, towel over his head, no expression really. And now you could see those Roman mannerisms of him talking when he's on the ropes, when he's talking to Cody, when he's cutting promos, the confidence he's just building, I think, just from a wrestling standpoint, and just the little things he does. He tags himself out. The looks he gives, talking he does in the ring with his bloodline. Those are things that I'm sure he learned from Roman Joe, right? He learned just watching how he conducted himself and how to present that character. And I still think though that there's a little more that can be done. And I don't know, for me, maybe it's like, is it maybe his beard, his hair, something? Just something they can tweak to really give him that like head of the table boss looking like feature and look to him. Because right now, he just doesn't seem as intimidating as they're making him out to be. And maybe that is the point, is that everyone kind of knows that he isn't like the head of the bloodline or head of the table. But I do like the shift that's happening with Solo. But also, one of the people I've come to learn about and also really enjoy watching right now is Jacob Fatu. This guy is impressive. I think the more they can do with him also, and I also like Tama Tonga. Like I think there is such good meat on the bone here for this bloodline, and for them to develop into a scary and tough and just cool bloodline 2.0, right? I think for them to grow would be a really cool storyline thing, and we'll see where that takes everyone, especially heading into next year's Mania and all that stuff. I think they're going to drag this one out, but I think overall this match for me, thoughts and prayers to Kevin Owen and his mom, his family. But I think this match overall was solid. I don't think it's anything special. I do think in the realm of storytelling, this was much more of a bloodline storytelling than it was anything Cody, Randy, or KO. I know maybe on like social media they were trying to push that like Randy Orton was looking at the title or something, and maybe they're teasing Randy Orton versus Cody. But I just think for the most part, this was definitely a bloodline storyline builder. But overall, it was enjoyable. Wasn't necessarily my favorite match of the night. In fact, it might have been like my least favorite match tonight, but not saying I didn't like it, but I just think in terms of the match itself and everything, just compared to the other ones, I thought that this match it was good, just maybe not the best one of the night. But overall, I think I'm excited. I'm going to SummerSlam, so I'm excited. I really hope Roman shows at SummerSlam. That's like that would be sweet. That like if he shows up, I really have a feeling he will, and shows up with Paul Heyman. And we'll get like at Bad Blood, we'll get Jimmy, Jay, Roman against this Bloodline 2.0. So that'll be kind of cool to see what happens there. But overall, I think the character of Solo, the character of all these guys, how they're trying to become the new Bloodline, and they're really impressive in the ring too. Jacob Fatu, again, really impressive, and he definitely is a monster, and pretty cool that we get to see him in WWE, and yeah, looking forward to what they bring next. So that's it, guys. That's it for my review for Money in the Bank. Let me know what you guys thought about the pay-per-view and where you guys think all these storylines are headed. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe for more, and if you have any comments, questions, leave them down below. But other than that, this has been WrestleTalk with Enrique Aledius. Catch you guys later.